He's given his programs all over the world, and he has people that he's worked with who have cross-marketed with him, where he's helped build their programs like they've helped him build his programs. I was fortunate enough that one day I get a call from a gentleman who was at that point the president of Jay Abraham's company. He was the one responsible for the administration of the company. And he said that Jay would like to talk to me about doing a program together. But what he wanted to do was something that was very interesting. He realized that his expertise was building the sales of a company. He could take a company that has practically no sales just because they don't know how to do it, but may have a great product. And he could take the sales and quintuple it literally in a few months and quintuple it again in a matter of a year or two. And so his idea was he wanted to find companies that had great products, didn't know how to market, buy the company cheap because it had not a lot of sales, and then infuse his marketing and sales capability into the company, build it within a year or two to where it was now doing zillions in sales, and now was worth a lot of money as a multiple of its earnings, and then sell it. And to do that, you make a lot of money, right? Why? Because maybe you increase the sales from $1 million a year to 10 million, okay? So the business is, let's say it's worth 10 times more than it was. It was worth 10, let me just use some numbers just so you can see the concept. Let's say a business was worth 10 times earnings. It's not in most cases, but let's just say 10 times earnings, right? So you have a company that's earning $1 million, and you are able to buy it for 10 times earnings. So you bought it for $10 million, okay? Let's start with that. Now in 2 years, you build it up to where its profits are now 10 million, okay? So it went from $1 million profit to 10 million profit, which Jay knows how to do that, right? So if you now have a company that a couple of years later is earning 10 million and it's worth 10 times earnings, it's worth $100 million. So if you increase the sales or the profits of the business, let's say from $1 million to 10 million, that's only 9 million that you increase the profits. But now in the 2 years that it took you to do that, and you now have a $10 million profitable company worth 10 times earnings, that's worth $100 million. So if you sell something you bought for $1 million, or bought for 10 million rather, and you sell it for 100 million, that's a big profit over 2 years. What you did is you leveraged your ability to increase sales into a multiple that you could now get back in 2 years by the flip of that business or the sale of that business. So once you get that concept, the numbers don't have to be that big to see that this is a great way to do this, right? A great way to create wealth, because you're creating a multiple of the earnings you create instead of just creating the income from the earnings that you create. Big difference. All right. So what he was able to do is to do that. And he wanted to partner with me to do that, where my part of the partnership would be to find the business that he would help me find. He would help me identify the companies that had great products, but terrible sales. We would then go in together and negotiate for the purchase of the company. And I would be responsible for the acquisition. And then he would take over the marketing. I would be responsible for selling the company. And together we would split the profits, and we each had our assigned responsibilities and what we were great at. So that was the first thing that brought us together. But what we also did is we also partnered to give our joint programs to people who wanted to learn how to increase sales and grow their business by acquisition. So between us, he would teach the people how to grow internally by increasing sales, and I would teach the people how to grow externally by buying other companies and adding them to theirs, and then how to integrate them, how to make them successful afterwards. All that was part of our program. That turned out to be a dynamite program. Dynamite. I mean, we sold so much of those programs as training programs for people. Now, why is this significant? Okay. When you reach a certain level in business that I had reached and that Jay had reached, when people like that get together, magic happens, magic. And I've had the benefit of now not only being able to bring to my people the ability to grow by external methods, but also because of these joint type of programs, I became knowledgeable, which helped me. I learned stuff from Jay that I never would have learned had I not had that experience. Jay learned stuff from me that he never would have learned had he not had this experience. And we both emerged more powerful people than if we hadn't formed that combination. And I've done things with not only Jay Abraham, but I've done things with other significant business leaders in various fields where our joint projects together produced incredible results, and where I was able to learn at a level in other aspects of business success way fast than if I was just trying to build a business by myself, or if I was just isolated in remaining only interested in what I did at my core. So I allowed myself to expand my vision, expand my knowledge of what's possible, expand my knowledge of how to evaluate things. I would not be the person that I am today had I not had the exposure to these top business leaders, literally worldwide. And if you want to learn more about that, get in touch with us and we'll show you how it is that we can work with you.